Ray and Caroline Walsh live a modest but deeply loving life in Astoria, Queens, with their two children, Emma, 7, and Jake, 5. Ray runs a small construction contracting business that he built from the ground up, while Caroline dedicates herself entirely to their family. They're genuinely happy in their simple existence, managing mortgage payments on their $380,000 house, sending kids to public schools, taking the subway into Manhattan for museum visits, and spending weekends at local parks along the East River. Their life isn't glamorous, but it's filled with authentic love, laughter, and the comfort of being truly known by each other. Everything begins to unravel when Ray's sister Sarah moves in after her latest business venture collapses. Sarah has always chased dreams of glamour and easy wealth, bouncing between failed enterprises, a Brooklyn boutique that lasted 6 months, a party planning business that fizzled, attempts at becoming an influencer that never gained traction. She arrives at their door with designer luggage bought on credit and promises to stay just a few weeks until she gets back on her feet. Sarah is materialistic and status-obsessed, sleeping until noon and spending hours scrolling through Instagram feeds of Manhattan socialites, luxury penthouses, and exotic vacations. She begins planting insidious seeds of discontent in Caroline's mind, with seemingly innocent comments that carry barbs beneath them. "That's a cute dress, Caroline. Very practical," she'll say, eyeing Caroline's Target outfit. "The kids share a bedroom. That must be cozy. You guys never eat out. There are such amazing restaurants in the city." These comments burrow under Caroline's skin like splinters, making her notice things she'd never minded before. The faded wallpaper, her 12-year-old car, Emma's hand-me-down winter coat. Ray lands a major construction contract at Hudson Yards, where he meets Jessica Morgan, a stunning, sophisticated real estate mogul worth over $200 million, tall with platinum blonde hair and sharp blue eyes. Jessica has built Morgan Properties into one of Manhattan's most successful development firms through intelligence, ruthlessness, and an almost supernatural ability to identify profitable opportunities. Jessica is immediately drawn to Ray's authenticity and integrity, qualities that are completely absent in her world of corporate lawyers, trust fund developers, and social climbing entrepreneurs. Ray is refreshingly genuine. He speaks to his workers with respect, knows every man's name, and his enthusiasm for his craft is infectious rather than performative. Jessica invites Ray and Caroline to dinner at Le Bernardin, one of Manhattan's most exclusive restaurants. Caroline feels immediately out of place in her Sale Macy's dress among the elegantly dressed diners, discussing wine vintages and summer homes in the Hamptons. Jessica, wearing a cream-colored dress that probably costs more than the Walsh's monthly mortgage, is charming and attentive. She asks Caroline about her children, her interests, her life, seeming genuinely interested. Toward the end of the exquisite multi-course meal, Jessica reveals unexpected vulnerability. "You have something I envy, a real family, real love. In my world, everything is transactional. I have money, success, all the material things anyone could want, but I'm profoundly alone." After that dinner, Sarah peppers them with questions about Jessica's watch, a Patek Philippe worth $80,000, her jewelry, her Mercedes S-Class, $120,000. For the first time in her marriage, Caroline lies awake, feeling the stirrings of deep discontent. Over the following months, Jessica becomes a regular presence in Ray's professional life, hinting at more contracts and making it subtly clear that her interest extends beyond business. She touches his arm when making points, holds eye contact too long, mentions how refreshing it is to meet a man of substance. Ray, devoted to Caroline, deflects these advances, but Jessica is patient and accustomed to getting what she wants. Meanwhile, Sarah intensifies her psychological warfare on Caroline. They sit at the kitchen table drinking coffee, while the kids are at school, and Sarah scrolls through real estate listings. "Look at this Tribeca penthouse, 4 bedrooms, terrace overlooking the Hudson, $6.5 million. Emma and Jake could each have their own room plus a playroom. No more worrying about the furnace breaking or the roof leaking." Another day, Sarah convinces Caroline to go window shopping on Fifth Avenue. They wander through Bergdorf Goodman, Tiffany and Company, Louis Vuitton. Sarah makes Caroline try on a $4,800 Valentino dress. Looking in the mirror, Caroline barely recognizes the elegant, sophisticated woman staring back. "You could have this life," Sarah whispers like a demon in her ear. "You deserve this life, don't you want more?" The poison is slow-acting but devastatingly effective. Caroline begins noticing every limitation: the cramped house, generic grocery store brands, the fact they haven't taken a real vacation in 3 years, her modest quarter-carat wedding ring, while other mothers at school pickup wear rocks the size of grapes. She begins to resent Ray's contentment. How can he be satisfied with so little when there's so much more available? One cold January evening, Sarah makes her calculated move. She tells Caroline that Jessica is in love with Ray and will do anything to have him. "Unless," Sarah says, leaning forward conspiratorially, "you take control of the situation. Turn it to your advantage." She proposes the unthinkable. Jessica would pay $5 million for a 2-year marriage arrangement. Sarah frames it as smart business. Jessica gets what she wants. Caroline gets financial freedom. And Ray eventually returns to her, wealthier and more successful. These arrangements among the wealthy happen all the time. It's temporary, a transaction everyone wins. For days, Caroline wrestles with this moral horror. But Sarah keeps pushing, painting vivid pictures of elite private schools like Chapin and Spence for Emma, collegiate for Jake, Ivy League educations, networking with children of CEOs and diplomats. Is it fair to deny them that because of pride? The tipping point comes when Emma comes home crying because another girl mocked her hand-me-down winter coat, calling it ugly and poor-looking. Something breaks inside Caroline as she holds her sobbing daughter. Sarah arranges a meeting at Jessica's Upper East Side penthouse, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, museum-quality art, furniture that's both beautiful and obviously expensive. Jessica is brutally honest. "I'm not looking for love. I've accepted that's not in my cards, but I need a husband. My board questions my stability as a single woman. There are events where a spouse is expected. Ray is perfect, honest, hardworking, real, and I'm willing to compensate you generously for stepping aside." She names the figure, $5 million, tax-free, structured however Caroline wants. Your children would have every advantage. You'd never struggle again. Ray would be fine, well treated. His business flourishing. In 2 years, he could come back to you as a successful businessman. Everyone wins. Caroline, drowning in temptation and rationalization, eventually agrees. The deal is arranged with shocking efficiency: lawyers, contracts, money placed in trust. The hardest part is telling Ray. On a Tuesday night after the kids are asleep, sitting at the kitchen table, where they'd shared 1,000 meals and dreams, Caroline says the words, "I want a divorce." Ray is utterly devastated, uncomprehending. "I want more from life than this," Caroline says, gesturing around their kitchen, hating herself with every word. "I want more for our children." She watches his heart shatter across his face like glass. And the worst part is knowing she's doing this to him, her husband, her best friend, the father of her children. The divorce moves forward with brutal efficiency. Ray is barely functional, throwing himself into work. Jessica is there with coffee and sympathy, slowly weaving herself into his grief. 6 months after the divorce is finalized, Jessica proposes a partnership marriage, not love, but business. Ray, hollowed out by heartbreak and loneliness, agrees. What does it matter anymore? They marry in a small, joyless ceremony at City Hall. Ray moves into Jessica's penthouse. It's beautiful and cold, like living in a high-end hotel. Jessica is respectful and professional, connecting him with contracts that triple his business revenue, taking him to galas where he networks with the city's elite. But he's profoundly miserable. Every night in the guest bedroom, he thinks of Caroline, dreams of their little house in Astoria, of Emma and Jake, of the life he lost. Caroline has moved to a spectacular Hamptons mansion, 6 bedrooms, a pool, an acre of landscaped gardens. Emma and Jake attend exclusive private schools with nannies and tutors. But Caroline has never been more unhappy. The Hamptons social scene is brutal. The other mothers are competitive and catty, judging mercilessly. Caroline is new money, an outsider who bought her way in. Her attempts at friendship meet cold shoulders. The children are changing too. Emma, once sweet, becomes conscious of brands and status, criticizing other children's clothes. Jake is being raised primarily by nannies. Since Caroline must attend charity luncheons and social events she has no interest in, the kids miss their father desperately, but see him rarely due to distance and his busy schedule. Emma acts out at school. Jake becomes withdrawn. 3 months into her new life, Caroline stands in her massive master bedroom, surrounded by luxury, and breaks down sobbing. She's traded love for money, family for status, happiness for security, and lost everything that truly mattered. The turning point comes at a charity gala at Chelsea Piers, Manhattan's elite gathering to raise money for children's education. The irony isn't lost on Caroline, as she stands in a $15,000 gown drinking champagne. She sees Ray across the ballroom with Jessica. They look stunning together, like they belong in this world. But when Ray's eyes meet Caroline's, she sees the truth. He's as miserable as she is. Jessica sees it too. She approaches Caroline, and the two women who conspired to destroy Ray's happiness face each other honestly for the first time. "You still love him," Jessica observes quietly. "I never stopped," Caroline admits through tears. Jessica confesses, "I have everything money can buy." But Ray looks at you, the way I've spent my whole life wishing someone would look at me. With real love, unconditional, not based on what you can offer, just love. In a stunning moment of moral clarity, Jessica walks to the stage and interrupts the auction. The ballroom falls silent. "I've spent my entire adult life building an empire." She begins, "I've made millions. I've changed the Manhattan skyline. I've achieved everything I set out to achieve. And I've been absolutely miserable." She admits her marriage to Ray was supposed to be a business arrangement, but that she's realized some things can't be bought or negotiated. Love and happiness among them. "Ray Walsh, I'm setting you free. Your divorce lawyer will have papers by Monday." Then she turns to the crowd. "To everyone in this room who thinks you can buy happiness, you can't. Trust me, I've tried. The only things worth having can't be purchased. They have to be earned, nurtured, protected." Ray approaches Caroline slowly. Through tears, she apologizes for her greed and stupidity, for throwing away everything that mattered. "Do you still love me?" Ray asks simply. "More than anything," Caroline says. "More than all the money, all the houses, all the things that don't mean anything without you." Ray pulls her into his arms, and for the first time in 9 months, Caroline can breathe. The next morning, Caroline returns to the Hamptons mansion and confronts Sarah. "We're leaving back to Queens, back to reality, back to the life I should never have left." Sarah is panicked. "You have $5 million, this house, this life." But Caroline is resolute. "I have nothing that matters. You poisoned me, Sarah. You made me believe material things were more important than love. But you were wrong, and you're not coming back into our lives. You're toxic, and I won't let you near my children or my husband anymore." Caroline packs up the children, keeping clothes and books, leaving expensive toys that never made them happy. "Are we going back to our old house?" Emma asks hopefully. "We're going home," Caroline confirms. Ray meets them at the Astoria house. It's smaller than Caroline remembered, but feels like sanctuary. Neighbors come out to welcome them back. Mrs. Chen brings casserole. The Johnsons offer to help move. This is real community. Caroline returns most of the money to Jessica, keeping only enough to pay debts and start modest college funds. Jessica will sell the Hamptons house and donate proceeds to charity. That night, sitting on their front steps, watching street lights flicker on, Ray and Caroline hold hands. "We lost 9 months," Ray says, "but we have the rest of our lives to make up for it." Caroline replies, "I had everything, Ray, and I almost destroyed it all." "But you didn't," Ray says gently. "We get to start again, wiser this time." 6 months later, the Walsh family has found their rhythm again. Emma and Jake are back in public school, reconnecting with old friends and rediscovering simple joys. Emma's materialism fades as she remembers friendship matters more than fashion. Jake comes out of his shell, Ray's business continues thriving through Jessica's contracts, but he's careful about balance, home for dinner most nights, present for school events, coaching Jake's soccer team. Caroline volunteers at the community center, teaching cooking classes, finding fulfillment in genuine connections and service. They vacation in the Catskills in a modest cabin, and Emma says it's the best vacation ever, better than the Hamptons with all its luxury. One Saturday, Jessica visits them in Queens. She looks different, less polished, more relaxed. She sold most of Morgan Properties and started a scholarship program for low-income students across all 5 boroughs. She's dating a public school teacher who makes $65,000 a year and thinks Thai takeout and Netflix is a fancy date. "I'm happier than I've ever been," she tells them. She apologizes properly for her part in nearly destroying their family. "We all made mistakes," Ray says, "but we learned from them. That's what matters." As Jessica drives away, Ray and Caroline stand in their driveway watching Emma and Jake play in the front yard. "Think we'll ever tell them the whole story?" Ray asks. "Someday," Caroline says. "So they understand that what you have matters less than who you have it with. That love is worth more than luxury. That family is the real treasure." Heavy lessons for kids. They're kids who had a pool and mansion and were miserable, then came back to a shared bedroom and are happy. I think they already understand. Ray puts his arm around Caroline, and they watch the sunset over their Queens neighborhood, their modest house behind them, their whole lives ahead of them. They have everything that matters, and this time they know it. Sometimes the longest journey is the one that brings us back home. Sometimes the greatest wealth is realizing you already had everything you needed. And sometimes redemption looks like a 2-bedroom house in Queens, and a love that survived even our worst mistakes.
Hi everyone! Please subscribe!